What is up, you guys? Glitchiz here. Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to drop episode 1 of a new series that I'm going to be making for a game that just released in open/closed beta now called Once Human. It kind of caught me off guard. Me and my buddy picked it up and started playing it, and we fell in love with it. The game is actually really good, especially if you like survival, collecting, looter shooter type games. So it's in open beta, and with that, obviously everything is new, so people are learning as we go, and so I figured I'd start dropping a few guides to help you new players out with some of the things that we were having problems with, to hopefully make your life a little bit easier as we go along the way. And for this first episode, the thing I want to go over is Deviants. As you can see, I've got arguably one of the most efficient setups that you can do for Deviants right now. I have found 6 of them. There's several that I don't have. A couple of them at the end of the video. I'll give you descriptions on how to get them. I just haven't collected them yet, and there's like maybe 2 that no one that I know has gotten yet, and no one really knows how to get. So those will have to just wait until another video. But the big thing that you'll notice is that people were having power issues trying to get all of their Deviants working at the same time. With this setup that I have here, you can get, with current level 3 or level 4 upgrades, enough power to run 6 Deviants at once at full power, without having any issues with their happiness. So as you can see, I've got that one on 100%, and all of these setups will allow your Deviants to be fully happy and 100% if you set it up this way. Got the time ticker 100%, hungry hopper 100%, electric eel 100%, and the biogel 100%. Over here, I also have the dream catcher 100%, but I turned it off for power reasons, just so for the demonstration. You'll have to like hook this up and then unhook one that you're not using. Ideally, in the future, I did post a suggestion on the official forums that I want the feature to be where instead of having to unplug it every time, when you turn the vessel on and off, that should just automatically revert the power that's not being used to your overall available power pool for your base. I think that'll be a huge quality of life improvement. So devs, if you hear this, be sure to add that feature in, because I think that would be a fantastic idea. It'll just make managing your base way easier. You won't have to sit there and rebuild and reconnect things constantly. But moving on, I wanted to go over each of the Deviants I do have and what their features are and how to keep them happy. Right out the gate, we have the Butterfly Returns. This is the very first Deviant that you get. It gives you, it's anomalous property, can secure without having power, but you get a 50% reduction to Deviant power output. This is key for this setup because this particular Deviant doesn't need to be hooked up to power, so it won't waste power when you're trying to power the other ones. It's also very important to have this one active at all times because it gives you the Wings potion, which I found to be one of the best, most used potions in the game so far. Trying to jump from a high cliff to a lower area, stopping your falls, things like that. It's super handy, and there's also a ton of chests that you need throughout the game that require you to fly from higher elevations down, and Wings is pretty much the only way that you can get it. So this is definitely one that you want to keep turned on at all times. But moving on to parameters, these are the things that will keep it happy. For Spectrum, this is the light that makes it happy. It is really good with green light. So as you can see, I have a green LED planted over it on the ceiling. Moving on, for sound, it likes relaxing music, which is why I have this radio here, which is playing relaxing music at all times. So that's going to make it happier. Moving on, for temperature, it likes warmth. So as long as you have it indoors, then it should be warm enough and it will be happy. And then last but not least, it likes flowers. I don't have a pot next to it because it is not necessary to have all 4 or 5 of these parameters met in order to make it 100% happy. You only need like 2 or 3. So to balance things out between all 6 Deviants, you want to remove a few of them strategically. So that's why I don't have plants here, because it's just simply not needed. Moving on. But yeah, with that setup, just a green light, keeping it indoors and having relaxing music, that'll be enough to keep your butterfly 100% happy. Moving on, we have the time ticker. This you get from defeating the second boss. This one has a Really nice perk that allows your crops to grow faster. So later on, probably once you hit like end of tier 3, tier 4, once you get your grow lights, your irrigation systems, and you start getting your farm up and running, you can probably keep this one disabled until then. But once you get your farm running, this is definitely one that you want to keep up because that'll help your plants grow faster. The potion, not really that big of a deal, but it's the passive that you really want to get. Moving on to parameters that keep it happy. This one also likes green light, which is why, as you can see, I have the green light on the ceiling shining down on it. For music, it also likes relaxing music, which is why I strategically placed it right next to the butterfly. That way I can put that radio right in the middle, and that will keep both of them happy without having to build multiple radios. For temperature, it likes warm. Keep it inside, and it should be fine. As for the vitality, it likes flowers and crops. So if you put a planter next to it and you have this in your house in a separate area and you don't care, you can put a planter down. That will make it more happy as well. But like I said, you don't need to have all of them to make it 100% happy. So I didn't bother because it does affect some of the other deviants that don't like crops. So I skipped that. And honestly, with just the power, the green light, and the relaxing music, it should be enough to keep the time ticker at 100%. Moving on, I'll start with this one. This is the Biogel. A lot of you will probably have this one. This one, it can be really tricky for a lot of people that are just starting out because it's the first one that has some like weird requirements. But really, one thing that you need to do is obviously have 35 power to get this running, which when you're starting out, having one generator isn't enough. If you look at your generators, I'll run up top to my base, give you a little tour here. And explain this. I have solar panels right now. You guys will probably have just the normal biogenerators, but by default, your solar panels and your biogenerators will be at 20 watts, which isn't enough to power the 35 power deviants. You need 35 or more. So what you need to do is make 2 generators early on and link them together, and that will give you enough power when you're starting out to power that biogel. Eventually, you'll get the electric eel, which I'll go on about a little bit later, which is probably one of the most important deviants to make happy and keep control, and that one's right there. But for now, let's go over the biogel. It gives you the Aerolite potion. Not a big deal. It can help you from... Actually, I'm not sure. I think the ground pound's the one where you slam. I'm not really sure what the Aerolite does. Honestly, it's not that important. To tell you the truth, the Biogel is actually one of the ones that I disable to preserve some power for my other more important ones. But it is cool just to have in your house and get it running in the beginning. For parameters that make it happy, it likes blue light, which is why I put a blue light on the ceiling over this one. For sound, it doesn't have any good ones, but it hates relaxing music and dynamic music, which is why I put it on strategically on the opposite side of the room from the time ticker and the butterfly, because they have the relaxing radio playing, and if it's about 4 or 5 walls away, that music won't reach the biogel and it won't be affected by it. So having it this far away is plenty, and you don't have to worry about that. For temperatures, it likes warm or hot, so just keep it indoors and you should be good. For vitality, it hates crops. This is the one that I was saying, an example of why I don't use planters to make the other deviants happy, because this is actually super sensitive to crops. So you actually have to plant your farm and things like that on the totally opposite side of your base, because if you have a plant anywhere near this thing, it'll make it unhappy and it'll be really hard to get it 100% secured. So try and keep your cropping, farming plots far, far, far away from this. It also has a particular sensitivity to aphiras and adhesives. That's like glue and the rubbers and things like that. So try and keep chests away from it that have those particular supplies in it, and you should be good. Right now, I just have the basic power, a blue light, and keeping it inside, and as long as you've got that 35 power, it's enough to make it happy. So good on that. Not too crazy, that one. Moving on, this one is one that you can get pretty early on. This is the Hungry Hopper. This one has Spring Legs Potion, which is pretty nice. It allows you to jump higher, so you can combo that with certain things. It also gives you the Wind Up Tadpole, which is basically free bait. You don't have to craft bait anymore. You can use this for fishing. But how you get this is, I'll actually show a clip right here. There is a zone on the map, and I'll circle it right here. You can probably see it in the clip, just south of where my base is actually. And And one thing I will mention is the Hungry Hopper likes to hop around. So if you see it out in the wild, it's usually by lakes, small little bodies of water. And I actually surprisingly found it at neither of those. There was a random swamp that me and my buddy were in, and there was a huge stack of cars, and we found the Hungry Hopper on top of the car pile. So it's not a guaranteed spawn, but as long as you check any like inland, like small body of water, most particularly the one that I'm showing in this clip, you should be able to find the Deviant stone hovering in the air, and you can grab it. Also in that particular video, as you saw, those 3 lily pads that are right in that location, if you jump from left to right across all 3 of them, it will spawn a nice little free item that you can get that has a mod attachment or a weapon attachment, so keep an eye on that. But things that make this one happy, it's kind of funny. There's a few little gimmicks. It has no light preferences, so I don't really have any special colored light on it other than just my spotlight. It likes mechanical music, which the only thing that I know of that produces mechanical music is actually the Wish Machine. It's the arcade you get from the Treasure Infinite questline in Thoroughville in the very beginning of the game, the starter area. If you put that in distance of the Hungry Hopper, that noise from the machine will actually make it happy, surprisingly. I don't think it's far enough to really affect it, so it's not necessarily something you need to use. So I skipped that one in exchange for doing the figurine, which I'll go over here in a second. Moving on for temperature, it hates chilly and low temperatures, but likes warm. So as long as you keep it inside, it should be enough. And then last but not least, for vitality, it likes figurines, which is why we have this cool little creature statue on the pedestal right next to it. Last but not least, for preferences, human fitness improvements, or movements rather, bring joy to the Hungry Hopper, as well as standard parts in the vicinity. This is the goofy one. When you're first starting out, to get this thing from 0 to like 40% just to start producing some of that deviant power to unlock some of the features. One thing you can do is if you just emote doing an exercise like push-ups, for example, you'll see the mood of the Hungry Hopper changing for the better. You can literally do emotes in front of this thing and it will actually start feeling better and its happiness will go up. So when you're just starting out, you and a buddy, or even if you're solo, just spam some emotes doing exercises, and that will temporarily make it happy and the points will go up. The big thing though, the game changer that really helped it go from like neutral to happy at all times, is that part where it said that it likes standard parts. This here, standard parts of the vicinity are consumed by the deviation. If you put a crate that has, this is actually in my wrong one, I just switched it, so it's not a necessity to do it. But if you put a crate that has standard parts in it, this is the one that I meant to move here. I'll actually move this now, because this is the one that I meant to grab. But if you put this near the hopper, not only will it make the Hungry Hopper a little bit happier, but it actually consumes the standard parts that are inside of this crate. So over time, if you keep checking back, like every couple of hours, this will go down by like 1 or 2. And he actually eats the standard parts from your crate if you put it near him, which is kind of funny mechanic, but hey, it works. So put that near it. With all the junk you're going to be collecting, you'll find plenty enough of those materials to have enough to cover it, and constantly keep that full. But that is how you keep the Hungry Hopper happy. Moving on to the second to last, and in my opinion, the most important deviant that you want to find early on as possible, is the electric eel. This one is really important because once you get above 50% securement, its anomalous property kicks in, which converts the energy output of your generators to +5. So that is how I'm able to get all 6 deviants running at the same time. Once you get this to 50% or more secured, all those solar panels, like you saw before, will start outputting 25 watts instead of the 20 watts, which basically, if you have all 5 after creating a hive and ranking up, will basically be giving you the equivalent of a free 6th generator, basically, or 5th generator if you're a little lower rank, which is a ton of extra power to power the rest of the stuff around your base. But moving on to the properties, this one also has a few little gimmicks to it. For spectrum light, it likes blue light, which is why I put the blue LED above it. For sound, it likes mechanical, so if you have it near that wish machine that's across the aisle there, those noises from the machine will make it happy, which is why I kind of put them across from each other. For temperature, it likes warm, so if you keep it just indoors, that should be enough. And then for the vitality, it likes animals, which is why I put the llama here. Surprisingly, the little llama toy counts as an animal. If you put that on a pedestal next to it, it makes the electric eel happy for whatever reason, and it helps bonus. Lastly, the preferences, parts and fish might change the deviation states. So if you put the standard parts, which is why I strategically put these together in a crate in between them, it will make the electric eel happy as well. So those are all the things that make the electric eel happy. Once you get him to 100% or 50% or higher rather, all your generators will be pumping out more power. So yeah, great deviant to have early on. And the way you get this one actually is by fishing. So if you go, the most reliable place in my opinion that I have found, I actually have it marked on my map, is in the starter area. It's Myers Market. It's a level 15 town that you go to. Right on the southern edge of Myers Market, there's 2 docks. This is considered fresh water. If you whip out your fishing pole, throw some bait on it, and cast anywhere off either of those 2 docks, you should get the fish on prompt every single time. And so what I do is I took about 30 to 40 bait, and I did a little fishing run, went to the dock, stood in one place, cast it out about 30 times, and I think I caught the electric eel on like my 22nd or my 23rd cast. So it's totally random, but within 20 to 30 casts in a row, at that level, you should be able to get the eel no problem. May take a little less, may take a little more, so bring some extra bait just in case. But that is the most reliable place for fishing that I typically go. It doesn't have a big variety of fish. You're pretty much only going to catch gnar here, which is good for like grilled fish. Another little side pro tip early on, that is a great food item to make, and you get 3 pieces of meat from every gnar fish that you catch here. So not only can you get the electric eel deviant here, but you can also stock up on a lot of great food resources. So be sure to check that out. Moving on, last but not least, for the 7th deviant that I've collected so far, this is the Dreamcatcher. You get this from the 3rd boss, the spider boss. If you go into your cradle and go to Memetics, the first boss for the butterfly, or for the Biogel rather, is the Ravenous Hunter. The Treant boss that you fight is how you get the time ticker, and then the Araxium is the spider boss that you get the Dreamcatcher from. So once you beat her, she'll drop the deviant, you suck it in, and that is how you get this one. This one has some really funny properties, and it was kind of tricky to figure out. Let me deactivate the Biogel real quick. Another pro tip a lot of you may not know is people are like destroying all these things because of power wires and stuff, but you can actually delete just the wire. In the beta, it's not set up properly right now. It's a bug. The wire doesn't highlight, but if you're in edit mode to where you can like delete things and you hover over the wire to the point where the wall isn't highlighted and nothing else around it is highlighted and hit destroy, it'll actually get rid of the wire still. So it does work, it just doesn't highlight. So it's kind of confusing and people don't really realize it. The other thing to keep in mind is once you get these deviants to 100% secured, you can disconnect them and turn off the vessel and their power won't go down. The securement won't go down, which is nice. As long as you got all the stuff around it, you can turn it off. And when you have it disconnected, all of that extra power that isn't being used can be funneled to other places in your base. So that's what we do for like our turrets and stuff. That's another little pro tip. We got our turrets set up. When we want to power up our deviants, we plug everything in. When we want our turrets at night to like cover our base, we disconnect 1 or 2 deviants and just detach the wire, and that automatically gives our base enough power to run all of our turrets simultaneously. But moving back to the final deviant that I have is the Dreamcatcher. Oops, get out of edit mode here. For facilities, let me reconnect this now. Now that we unconnected the Biogel, we can reconnect this up. 1 second. Throw a little power cable on it. There we go. We're up and running. So we've got, I can actually unlock pretty much all of these. Don't know why I haven't done it yet. The Weaver. Not sure what this potion does. But for spectrum parameters, this is your color light. It likes blue light. So obviously put the blue light on the ceiling. That'll make it happy. For sound, it likes relaxing music. So that is why I strategically have it kitty cornered with the time ticker and the butterfly. That radio does reach to this far to the window, so that is helping keep the dream capture happy. Moving on to temperature, it likes chilly and low temperatures. Now, one thing I noticed is if you put it near an open window, that will be enough early on to get it like green happy. But once you reach 100% for the first time, for whatever reason with the Dreamcatcher, once you hit 100%, if all you're doing is using the open window, it'll go back to neutral and slowly start deteriorating again. So what I found out was, a little trick, is if you put a refrigerator next to it, the refrigerator, for whatever reason, is a strange gimmick, counts as making things cold around it. And the crazy thing is, you don't even need to have it plugged in. So we've got our main refrigerator that's using the wattage to keep our actual food cold, but all you got to do is just build a second refrigerator, keep it unplugged, and just place it next to the Dreamcatcher, and that will make it that chilly to super low temperature coolness to make it happy for the temperature. Moving on, for vitality, it does not like animals, which is why the llama's on the opposite side of the room and has no other configuration properties there. For preferences, it says the Dreamcatcher snags the vibes of nearby thoughts during contemplation with things cooling down at night. So I'm wondering if you I tested it with a bed. I thought that maybe if you put a bed near it and you slept, it would get your thoughts from your dreams maybe, but that didn't seem to have any effect. And honestly, like I was mentioning in the beginning of the video, you don't need to have all 4 or 5 preferences met to get it to 100%. You just need 2 or 3. So having the open window, the blue light, the relaxing music, and the refrigerator is enough to keep the Dreamcatcher happy at all times, so you don't need to worry about the bed or anything like that. So that is how you keep 7 Deviants 100% happy, and 6 of them plugged in and powered on at all times with the little bit of power you get from your limited generators early on in the game. I do know from talking to other players that are further in the beta that you do eventually get the ability to upgrade your generators to 30 watts and higher. So once you get that power upgrade, you will be able to power more at once. But at my current level, unfortunately, I only have the ability to power 6 at a time. Last but not least, the one thing I wanted to go over is the few deviants I don't have. The Wish-O-Matic, I haven't been able to find any information on. Some people said it's actually in the beta being confused for the Wish Machine, which doesn't make sense because if you go to the Season Pass and go to Features, this little symbol here does not look like the Wish Machine. So I think there is a way to get this Wish-O-Matic. I just haven't figured it out yet. The glass jellyfish, I'm assuming, is going to be from the next, not the next boss, but the boss after that. The next boss, the one after the spider, is the dog-looking one. That is what drops the canine skull. So the 4th boss is the one that drops the canine skull. And to make that one happy, that one likes red light, dynamic music, which means if you have a radio next to it, you have to constantly be changing the station. That's what dynamic means. So if you keep it on one station too long, it's going to get unhappy. You have to constantly be changing it. It likes animals, so I'm assuming the llama will work, and it likes hot temperatures. So maybe if you put a grow lamp for your same thing that you would use for your plants once you hit tier 3 after beating the spider, and you get that upgrade. A grow lamp probably, I'm assuming, produces heat, and that I haven't tested yet, but I'm pretty sure that will be enough to help as well. And then last but not least, it creates a fire potion as its special effect. Not sure what it does yet because I haven't collected it, but that is the information I have found for it. Moving on, the Pup Buddy. This is another one that I haven't figured out how to get yet. And then last but not least, we have the Disco Ball. This one I don't have yet, but it should be available. This one, interestingly enough, is happy to all color lights, which kind of makes sense given the theme of it. It likes dynamic music, so you're going to have to constantly be changing, but it hates farms and hates figurines. So don't put any of the toy structures or the llama anywhere near it, or any plant boxes. That will make it unhappy. And the way you get that is actually the Disco Ball event, which I'm sure you may have run into in the starter area in the town of, what is it called? The town of Dayton? I'm not sure. Let me look it up. If it shows the, oh yeah, it is Dayton. It is Dayton. So in that little Dayton Disco Ball event, if you dance at both disco balls and shoot the big disco ball enough times, there's apparently a chance that this disco ball deviant can drop as a reward. I've done it probably 4 or 5 times. I haven't gotten it to drop yet. Granted, when me and my buddy did it, he was the one dancing, so I'm going to have to swap roles and try out doing all the dancing and stuff this next time. But that is how you get the disco ball, supposedly, and those are the perks of it. The other cool thing with the disco ball is once you get it, the effect is it makes all other deviations that you have happier. So if you manage to get this early on, that is going to be a super useful deviant to have turned on at all times, because it's going to make getting all of your other deviants to 100% way quicker. So yeah, so the disco ball, in my opinion, and the electric eel are probably the 2 most important deviants when setting up your deviants in your stronghold in total. Again, Wish-O-Matic, Pup Buddy, and the Canine Skull haven't acquired yet and or don't know how to get them. Be sure to check out the channel regularly, because once we do figure it out, there's going to be another video, so keep your eyes out on that. But yeah, that is my deviant guide. I hope you guys like the setup. If you have any questions, feel free to comment down below and let me know. I'm happy to answer any questions. I'm like level, I don't even know what level I am. I'm 34 right now, so I'm already in the 4th boss, the Chalk Peak territory. So we're moving towards the later endgame stuff. We're getting aluminum and everything already. And actually, the next video you see might not look like this, because we're building a new base in that new zone right now. So we may have the setup a little bit different, and you'll have a new change of scenery. But yeah, until then, hope you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll catch you in the next one. Later.